Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Exciting times here with Bitcoin cranking up past that $60,000 mark. Hate to say we expected this, but we kind of did with that upper level liquidity. So good news is there's very little liquidity left and people are pretty much, well, I wouldn't say done shorting, but that there's a lot less shorts in the market at this exact moment. So we'll look at that and much more. Also discuss, best and worst case scenarios here for this coin and if it can continue up higher. Chances are it probably will. So if you're going to be shorting, just short with realistic targets in place. We did originally talk in our community about shorting from 61 to 63,000, that range. We're kind of right smack dab in the middle of that, so might be an interesting time to consider that. We'll look at a few reasons why that might be the case and a few reasons not, and ideally just get better perspective here. So just to quickly touch on the liquidation, 41,500 is the highest level of liquidation on the monthly. Again, that is well past due. I don't think we're going to see that price action again. So congrats to a lot of our community members adding to their spot bag in that 40 to 45K range. Even having said that, even if you didn't, maybe you want to consider adding to it now. I know it seems crazy at 60,000, but as the price pulls back, just add to your position. That's kind of how it's supposed to work. Generally speaking, that's dollar cost averaging in a nutshell. So really quick, I want to touch on a couple of things here. Let's go ahead and discuss just the liquidation levels, and then we'll work our way down. So to touch on this here, first of all, we had some recent liquidation levels that were swept pretty hard, obviously. We got this 53,500 mark, that 57,000 mark. Everybody was shorting at 57K because it was, and still is, a 0.786 fib level. Now, that level could be retested again. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that. But generally speaking, between now and then, we can presume the price will maintain where it's at. And if it does pull back, probably maybe pull back to 60,000 initially, because that is roughly where we've identified some weekly candlestick closures. I'll look at that. We'll look at that in the charts here in a minute. But for the moment, we do have some late shorts here. Not a whole ton, but a decent amount of shorts at 61,900. They're probably a little scared right now because we're creeping up on that already. So we'll probably even see some liquidation levels occur during this recording, which is always fascinating to me. So where does it stop? Well, no one truly knows, but what we can do is look at some larger time frames to identify. Quickly to touch on this here in our premium group, congrats to our members here last night. We took 78% profit on Chainlink, Atom 58%, yesterday Reef 101, Dogecoin 84%. XRP 36. The list goes on, Dogecoin, etc. We have a lot of good trades going on right now. Again, these are swing trades we took last week and the week before. Those were all longs. Now, do we take longs right now? Yes and no. The market is cranking, but is it too late? We'll find out soon, of course, with the altcoins, but generally speaking, a lot of it has to do with Bitcoin dominance, as I mentioned previously. And even though Bitcoin dominance is on the rise, alts are still cranking, which does imply we could very well see a shift in momentum here. So just to touch on this really quick and we'll move on. When you have Bitcoin dominance and the price of Bitcoin going up, you're supposed to see altcoins going down. And if we do happen to see the price of Bitcoin pull back in the relative near future, which is possible, finally, I would say you have to have some correction, then we're going to probably see a dump from alts. So be careful taking a bunch of longs right now. A lot of them are in profit, of course. They will continue to, but if Bitcoin starts to plateau and work its way down, different story altogether. All right, so just kind of prefacing that. So now that we know all that, what does that mean? Well, my anticipation of the price coming up to 60,000 pulling back is no longer validated, right? That's reaffirming that potentially being a support. So if we look at the weekly here, we pull back. This time frame here, the 60,000, goes back to one of the first waves here back in 2021, where the price action legged up to 60,000, could not close a weekly candlestick above that level. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times it tried, couldn't pass. Then it had to wait from May all the way to October to break through that level later. Okay, so with us being at 60,000 plus right now, if the price does pull back, these should work as support levels, right? Being previous resistances. That's kind of the concept. Now we'll draw out some new levels here, of course, 66,000 as a potential area of retracement, and we're just going to pay attention to these levels, okay? Again, these are just weekly candlestick closures. We could do the same thing for monthly as well, just kind of get perspective. We are coming up on a monthly candlestick close at about 61,600. We're actually right smack dab, right in the nose in that one, okay? So we're at a resistance zone, but have previous resistances really proven to be resistances at all? Not really. So let's look at some big picture stuff. I mean, we're at the end of the month. Why not take a look at this here? Stochastic is pretty much maxed out. implying that we don't really have any identification of the fact that the price action could pull back. In fact, let's go ahead and go with a different chart. This is our, what is it? I think it's, yeah, Bitstamp chart, just kind of giving us perspective on bigger time frames. We'll clear up the chart a little bit there and just take a look. MACD's over, swinging upwards, of course. RSI is up over 70. This is one of those parabolic type of runs, okay? So likelihood of the price going further up is pretty great, considering the last time it did this, the price action ranked, ripped up and didn't look back, okay? So when you get over 70 on the monthly, amazing things can happen, okay? So I'm not saying the exact same thing will occur, but we could very well see a similar scenario here to put us in the 80 to 100K range, okay? So again, that's just a possibility, distinct possibility. So taking a look at all that, money flow index is high. I mean, there's no reason to consider shorting on the larger time frames. Granted, you never short or long based on just one time frame, but still the concept applies there. We can see the same thing here as well for 85 RSI on the weekly. That's very, very big. In fact, the last time we came up here, when the price cranked up as we identified previously, the RSI hit 95. Okay, so that really just implies that we're probably just getting started here, and that once again reaffirming the fact that if you were to short right now, it may not be the best call. But once more, you got to recognize too, I'm leaning more towards shorting just based on the simple fact that we are hitting that overextended state, and it would make sense for us to get an initial rejection off this zone. And again, when I say short, I'm referring to a really tight short. I'm not referring to a hold from 60 to 40K range. I don't think we're going to see 40K for a while, folks. I think we're months or years away from that now, okay? Just based on the way things are moving. In fact, we'd be lucky to see 50s now at this point. Again, it's crazy to think that, but that's exactly the case. MACD is still converging. There's really no reason to consider, again, anything, the price pulling back significantly on the weekly. Take a look at the daily here. Let's take a quick look here. Same thing as well. Let's go ahead and go with our other chart, our better chart that gives us a little bit more perspective, and kind of understand here that we are converging the MACD. We are over 70 on the RSI, which I've stated before is a very positive sign. While we were above that recently here, we only dipped below for a very short period. So that's a really good sign here, letting us know with the money flow being high, stochastic still swinging up, price has more propensity to increase than decrease moving forward. Moving forward from that, if we take a quick look, actually, let's slow down here a little bit. Let's go ahead and look at the moving averages and just double check. We're setting concurrent with this 20-day SMA, which is standard stuff there. So again, all the more reason to just be cautious with a short position and to recognize that the price action, while it should pull back soon, it may not pull back significantly. Okay, again, I think I'm feeling like 60K is the bottom right now as far as tentative bottoms. 57.5, of course, would be a secondary bottom, but generally speaking right now, it's kind of getting crazy. Okay, now I know that the charts seem kind of funky here with all these lines here, but I'll be sure to clean these up when I send out my playout chart. But generally speaking, at this point here, we can see 4-hour time frame is getting really overextended. When we're getting in the 90 plus range, there's a larger chance of prices pulling back. So again, we've identified the larger time frames are extremely bullish. Every single time frame is bullish. Propensity for further increase is greater. Okay, Bitcoin should continue higher at this rate, specifically with the ETFs. More media is covering everything. We're hitting that upscale, if you will, that significant uptick where it gets a lot of media attention and just things everyone wants to FOMO in right now. Okay, keep in mind that will come to an end eventually. So if we do see an initial pullback, I don't think it's going to be massive, but I do think that we're due for a slight correction, mainly because RSI can only maintain itself for so long, so high on these smaller time frames. Okay, so 4-hour right now, it is starting to slow down, but it's still looking very bullish. There's no other way around it. We're above all moving averages, MACD is converging. Literally no reason to consider a long short position. What I mean by long is duration and or distance. Okay, you can't expect to get massive gains on a short right now, not with Bitcoin. If you do, though, they're going to be tighter targets, and make sure you play it safe. Having said that, let's take a quick look at T sequential and kind of identify here. Came up to a 9, I wouldn't say we got a reset, but we are overextended. We're about 16 to 24 hours into this continuation. So that really just implies that the price action could move further, but we're getting closer to an overextended state, right? And as I mentioned before here, there's a candlestick pattern referred to as 3 white soldiers. Today is that third day, effectively giving us a full 72 hours of correction in the same direction. It's typically followed by a red fourth day. Okay, that's really common. Now, again, that red fourth day may not be monumental. It might even be just a simple doji candle, but it will likely be red tomorrow. Okay, Just, again, throwing it out there based on statistical probabilities, not saying that's a guarantee. However, when we look at this here, we're overextended, no surprise. Hourly time frame. We're going to confirm probably the same scenario here. No reason to short into this coin. Truth is, right now at this point, I think we're in a situation where the price action is looking pretty solid. Okay, so these are all reasons to consider keeping your long position open. So if you were to consider a short, again, just keep in mind tighter targets, smaller time frames, and make sure you understand that it's not really super beneficial to do that. Do I feel like Bitcoin dominance will cool off soon? And Bitcoin initially will maybe spend a little bit more time in a range? I think we're due for that. I don't think this was enough time here for us to warrant this next leg up quite significantly, right? So to me right now, again, I'm leaning more towards a tiny short, a short that has tighter profit targets, and that's not only going to be able to kind of stay in a close range. And again, mainly because we're massively overextended on both the hourly and the 4 hour. While we have more room to run here, I still think that we're going to see a slight correction soon. So again, those are just my thoughts. Again, we're totally bullish. There's no other way around it. So do not end this, walk away from this video and thinking that you're just going to go ahead and short your shirt off. I'm referring to a really strategic short position. And outside of that, honestly, everything else should be long. You shouldn't be shorting majority of altcoins just yet. They are definitely looking like they are running here. And it's an interesting thing. So until you start to see that shift in momentum, until you start to see Bitcoin dominance pull back, there's not a lot of reasons to consider really shorting much at all. Once more, it's crazy right now, but that's how it goes. This is the market that we're in right now, folks. So take it or leave it, love it or hate it, either way you look at it. Thank you again so much for the support. Like, subscribe, follow if you haven't already. Greatly appreciate that. And make sure, of course, you jump on over to our Twitter, Telegram, or Discord. We got a really good group of folks there. And obviously, make sure you check out Bitunix too, phenomenal exchange, link down below to register for them. They are phenomenal. Thanks again, everyone. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.